Hey everybody, welcome to Gimme A Song. I'm your host, Jeff Phipps, and I bring people on every week. They give me a song, and then we talk about the song, and I give them a song, and we talk about the song. So thank you so much for watching, or if you're on Spotify and you're listening, or you're on Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening or watching, hey, thank you. Today I brought on
Cori Stewart. Hello, I'm Cori Stewart.
What do you do?
I am a stand-up comedian. I am also an attorney, and I live in Denver, Colorado.
Fancy. Thank you so much for coming out. We're in Margaritas, so we're in a Mexican restaurant right now. We are not sponsored by Coors Light. I do need to establish that. It's going to be in the shot. Maybe I can get that hid, but we're probably going to do a lot of episodes here, so get used to seeing this setup. We might move somewhere else. But anyway.
This was just hung because I am from Denver.
Yes.
So this is...
the silver bullet followed you here.
Yes, it did.
But I do have sponsorship, and so I have a live read that I have to do every week, so I'm going to start with that. It's not on yours, so you don't have this.
Okay.
So anyway, today an anime called Tokyo Fish Fry is our sponsor.
Oh.
Okay, Tokyo Fish Fry is an anime about a young boy, Mikey, who wants to run the best fish stand in all of Tokyo, fish stand. He discovers Mr. Marbles, a talking carp who saves his own skin by showing Mikey where the tastiest fish are. So this guy is literally selling out his friends.
Yeah, it's
I don't know if it's like friends. Like, yeah, it's a creepy thing. Try not to think too much about it. It's an anime.
Sounds a little, it's almost like, it's like one step away from Giving Tree. Maybe eventually the talking carp is like, just,
Yeah, maybe.
If you need me, cut me.
Possibly. You can turn it on each week on Netflix and watch Mikey become the greatest fish stand owner in all of Tokyo. Again, Tokyo Fish Fry is the name of the episode, and there's only 858 episodes.
When you talk about a Tokyo Fish Fry, is that like is it a fish and chips kind of thing? Is there malt vinegar? Is this more like a tempura? What?
I have no idea. I don't watch the show. Look, they just send me the read. I have a management that writes these, and they say this is what you're reading this week. I have no clue, honestly. Yeah. I wish I knew. I have no idea.
Well, maybe once they get into they get into a third season, maybe you can let us.
Well, there's 858 episodes, so I'm assuming...
already? That's the first season?
Yeah. So
20 minutes each? Wow.
I have no idea. Yeah, it's a lot of animation. A lot of people probably, speaking of, we'll get to the song, but a lot of labor probably being expended. Cori, what would you say? So you said you're a stand-up comic, you're a lawyer. You mentioned that you're a lawyer. Usually people don't mention their day jobs, which is fine by me. But now we're going to talk about it a little bit. So what would you say your biggest accomplishment as a comedian has been thus far?
I don't know. I work a lot with Helium, and so I've done a lot of great shows there.
Yeah.
I think that I'll be featuring for a really funny person that I really enjoy, Benny Feldman, tomorrow. So I think my greatest accomplishment has been working with and kind of holding my own with people that I really think are very, very funny and that I respect a lot.
Yeah, no, that's a good accomplishment. Okay, and as a lawyer, let's transition to that. What would you say your biggest accomplishment has been as a lawyer?
I've saved people's houses. I've done a lot of, I do foreclosure defense and housing work, and so I've been able to stick it to some bad landlords who were not, actually when I worked here in Belleville, in Belleville and East St. Louis, landlords who were taking advantage of people, and I've saved dozens of houses. I think it's hard to know how many, but
yeah. I mean, I would keep a record personally.
Really?
And then I would be sending them cards on a regular basis. I'm not the type of person who should be, probably is in the field of saving people. So like me personally, like if I had saved your house, like honestly, I would probably be rubbing it in your face on like a semi-regular basis.
Well,
it's like, hey, nice house. Oh, why are you still there?
Should I drive past them?
Yeah,
like
honk the horn.
Like kind of like a Cape Fear situation. Come out wherever you are.
Yeah, like a. It's another letter from Cori. Oh, what's it say? Oh, actually, it would be Jeff in this case because you're not doing this. Obviously, I would be. It's like, oh, it's another letter from Jeff. You are.
I hate banks more than I am petty. So maybe that's petty. I don't know. I don't need accolades. I just need banks to suck a dick.
There you go.
A legal dick.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, insurance. My beef has always been in insurance companies more than banks. Although it's the same. It's the same thing. You're providing a service that we maybe don't need, but we do kind of need, and then like you make sure you get every drop of money.
Yes.
You can
Yeah. They are a parasite. They are an unnecessary parasite.
Yeah, they're not unnecessary though. Like you do need banks.
I don't know. We need. I don't know that we need a mortgage lending industry, and perhaps we need a place to keep money so that we don't all get robbed in the homes that are communally owned if there were no banks. I don't know.
Right.
But
this
like,
is way above us.
Yeah,
like,
this is like a very.
So I tell jokes. You tell jokes. You're on the podcast. No, it's a very heavy concept, and everybody has like an idea of like what they would do to fix it. But nobody has like the greatest answer, and nobody's trying to fix it either, which is the problem. The only time they try to fix it is like when the banks overextended all their money to lend to people maybe they should or shouldn't have, and then like crashed the market.
Right.
And then it's like, oh, now we have to save the banks.
Fix it for the banks, but not for the people.
Not for the people who lost their houses in that. Yeah. My famous thing is that Bank of America, of all people, tried to foreclose on somebody whose loan was paid off.
Yeah.
And
They do that all the time.
Yeah, and they successfully foreclosed on that guy.
Yeah, it's not unusual that they. I have many cases now where the bank is just doing nefarious things, and they won't fix it because they won't admit that they're wrong.
Right.
And so, like, I have these protracted fights with banks. I'm in one that we've been at it for like 15 months, and they're just wrong, like patently wrong. You can point on their ledger where they're wrong, and they're just like, nope, not gonna do it, nope.
Yeah.
And so now, it becomes like I've spent 200 hours on this case, which means, and I'm going to have to take them to court for doing something that is, because they are so robotic and unable to like analyze, and they have all of these different departments that I think specifically to frustrate people.
Yeah.
They can't fix a huge mistake that they've made, and so it becomes like so hard for a homeowner to. So people are just like, okay, fine, I'm just gonna. I don't want to lose. Yeah.
Like they just tire out.
Yeah.
Like, and they anticipate that.
Yes.
You ever seen The Rainmaker? It's got Matt Damon and Danny DeVito. You should go check it out. It's a Grissom. I don't know if you're a big Grissom fan. I don't know what lawyers are.
I don't really read Grissom. I do like fiction, but I don't like lawyer fiction. I don't know why.
I don't read a lot of.
I don't know why I did that.
That's like people. Why you did what?
Became a lawyer at all.
Oh.
Well, I know what. I just didn't. I wanted people to think that I wasn't stupid, but I don't like lawyer culture.
Yeah.
And I don't like lawyer things. So.
Yeah. Well.
Never read a Grissom.
You're not missing. I mean, you may or may not be. I don't read the novels. The movies are halfway decent. The Firm was good, but
Is
Rainmaker.
The Game also Grissom?
No, that's just a
Douglas?
That's just a David Fishner story. Like that's just a.
Okay.
But it's not a lawyer-esque movie or.
I like The Game with Michael Douglas.
Yeah, that was a good movie. Okay. Anyway, The Rainmaker is about insurance companies that defraud people, and it's very like touching and hard. Like I always think of that. Like that's like you're doing similar work. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So people come on and they give me a song. I ask them up front, I'm okay, give me a song. What I need you to do though, right now, is I gotta look at the camera and make this announcement. I need you to go listen to the song, especially this one, because we're gonna get really into this song, and we'll get into my song too. But there'll be a code, a QR code on the screen where you can scan it, listen to it. Also in the description, there's always like a link to it. But please go check it out. And what was the song that you gave me?
I have given Jeff the song "Labor" by Paris Paloma.
Yeah,
one of my favorite new artists.
Okay, how did you find this song?
Well, initially, the first song that I heard from Paris Paloma was her cover of Rainbow Kitten Surprises. It's called Free Fall.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a great song, and it's a beautiful cover. I really liked her, like how melodic she is, and like the way that she arranges songs that she covers. And so from that first song, I really loved her, and so I followed her for the last couple of years. She hasn't been around long, but this is the one that really
I
got
could
me.
see that. You recently found the artist
A couple of years ago.
years ago, and this song is fairly recent. This is like the last year or two. Okay, so you already knew who she was when you found the song.
Yeah.
Did you send me this song because you think that this is who I am as a human being?
No.
Thank you. Okay.
Do you think that is who you are? Is this like a
Was it a
Rorschach kind of
Yes.
experience? You listened to it and you like saw yourself in it?
I did not see myself in it at all.
Okay.
Had I saw myself in it, we probably wouldn't be discussing this now. No, I'm joking. The target audience isn't the people who will listen to this song. That's what I got out of this initially. I was like, this song is written by a woman, it's written for women, and I guarantee you, not a lot of men probably listen to this song, or know of this song.
Yeah,
because I'd never heard the artist, of the artist, and I'm fairly, connected to music, obviously, but I was just like, never came across it, and the second I started listening to it, I was like, oh wow, this is, very empowering, and then also at the same time depressing.
I think that's the universal lady experience.
You think this is universal? I don't know if this is universal.
Well, no, being empowered but also depressed.
Okay, I'm not gonna. I won't argue. I can't argue that as an outsider. But yeah, so my initial thought. So I always give people my initial feedback of the thing. That's the whole point of the show. But it was just like, man. This lady just got it bad. I wrote down, I take notes, and I also point out things in the thing, point out points in the song. But what I wrote down was weaponized incompetence, which is a thing that has become more well known than it was like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, where people are actively just dragging down the relationship, and it's on both sides. It's not specifically men. There are women who do it as well.
Sure.
In defense of men, I'm not going to defend all men. By the way, sorry. Like if you're expecting a defense, you're not going to get one from me. There's plenty of people who do this. But yeah, it's this idea of weaponizing conflict. Oh, I don't know how to do the dishes. Oh, I don't know how to do this. Like, oh, I don't help out around the house because I'll mess it up. Or who in fact sabotage and mess it up so they don't get asked to do it again.
Right. Yeah, that's. I don't know. I think a lot of typical marriage experiences, and this song is written and performed by a very young woman who, to my knowledge, is not married. I don't know their relationship status, but I think that this is an experience that at least most of my friends have had with their significant others. I have so many friends who had children with a husband someone that they divorced, or or even while they were still in the relationship, and the husband, my friend just said this to me on the phone, that their husband refers to like spending time with their children as watching them, or like men tend to remove themselves from the family. I think a little bit.
I know what you're talking about. Like people will say, like I'm babysitting the kids. It's like you're not babysitting; those are your kids.
You're watching your kids.
Yeah, I never put it like that, or would never let it be put like that. It's like these, I'm the step parent to my kids. It was never like. I'm not babysitting. Like I'm part of. I want to be part of the family. It's a weird thing. Yeah, and I'd like to say that it's atypical. I would. I know you're saying it's more difficult. I don't know what the percentages are. Like I said, I want to be I'm an optimistic person in nature. Believe it or not. I mean, I come across as a very cynical about a lot of things, but I'd like to believe that this is more atypical. But maybe it isn't. Like you said, if you know a lot of people that have done that, and I have friends, and and they have relationships, and you can see the ups and downs. And I'd like to think it's more like ups and downs. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it's like you're you're stressed out because of work, things aren't going well, and maybe you're not contributing as much as you could be. But there's a door around the corner. But then sometimes you run into this person. It's just like, you make me do too much labor. Somebody I thought it would be my savior. That's one of the things. That's one of the key points I wanted to hit. Like, because there's so much in this song. There's so many words. It's like a 4-minute song, but she sings like the entire time. It's not like really a break.
Yeah, and I like the way that it has like kind of like a dirge feel to it, kind of like madrigal. And it's very like haunting.
Yeah, no, it's a good way of putting it. Like I said, if you haven't had a chance to check this one out, this would be the one to check out. But it's like she's like, I thought you'd be my savior, which really you shouldn't go in with that attitude anyway. But okay, but you did, and then it just turned out terrible. And it's like, the whole thing. If we had a daughter, was the part where it's like. But she's like, I'd watch it and I couldn't save her, which is kind of like just heartbreaking. It's like, this poor girl, this poor lady. I wonder how long it took her to write this. This feels like something that was like just cranked out, like a fight with a boyfriend or a fight with their significant other, and then this is just like, this is a vent. Like it really is a vent, But it's like, would she do what you taught her? She'd meet the same cruel fate. It's like, I've got to run. So finally she's like realized it's like this isn't gonna work, And I think we talk about these situations. It's like so many people don't do that. They don't take a second. They don't look at from outside themselves and say, I've got to go. Like this needs to end. This needs to change. And then it leads to these situations, where it's these lifelong just misery parties where nobody's happy, Because I couldn't imagine being the guy and just being this incompetent and just being like disconnected and being happy at the same time,
I don't know. You'd be surprised. I think
I
think my experience was something very telling about. So now I do typically cut and run when I see any kind of like
red flags. That's what we're calling it.
Yes, infantilized men behavior. I run, but like it was very telling to me when I left my ex-husband that like a week after I left the house, he hired a house cleaner. He could have done that at any point. He could have made our lives so much better. But I was like a commodity in the house a little bit, and preparing meals and cleaning and doing on top of also doing the same kind of. He was also an attorney, so we were both doing the same kind of work, but I was on top of that doing like the house stuff. And so I think that like even when women work outside of the house because of some of the vestiges of misogyny, but also like the vestiges of typical kind of patriarchal relationships, we still have to do beyond our work as outside of the house, earning money for the household. We have to do the lady work.
Yeah, I mean, like, to give you an example, like Becky cooks far more than I do, and it's not like, it's not like I don't want to cook, and I know sometimes she listens to these, sometimes she doesn't. I don't know if she'll listen to this one, so if she does, then we'll probably have a conversation about this. Not a good one, but it's like, I would cook more, but there's been so many times where she's just like, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like this, and it's like those are literally the things that I cook. So it's kind of like it wasn't like I wanted to be this person. So we do we have like we subscribe to a thing called e-meals, and so then like it'll send the thing to Walmart and it'll buy the things that you need and you just pick it up, and then it's like, okay, I can follow these directions, and she pick it out. So it's like, but we've just been so busy, we really haven't. But when we get into a good rhythm, it's like usually 2 or 3 days a week. One of us will cook, and then the other one,
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we try to keep the house fairly, the same way. We've had these conversations. Let me put it that way.
A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't have like a division of work kind of conversation with their significant other, and then it results in a lot of.
But it's like you had a life before we became a thing, and it's like, And I don't understand, like, because we did have like these kind of talks, and we did kind of, it was like, well, you know, you kept your house in order before I got here.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, what was that a fraud? What were you doing? You know, like, why are you lying to me then, or why are you lying to me now? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, partnerships are easier than solo work, but I do like. You're right. People have personalities before they get into relationships, and one of my biggest pet peeves is when, and it happens a lot in comedy. It happens a lot. I don't know. It happens a lot generally when women have to, or women see themselves solely as a parent or as a mother, like that becomes their identity, or like their whole identity is trying to get into a relationship. Like they aren't, like, I was doing this was crazy to me. I was doing like a Q&A at a show, and like I had not at all talked about dating. Because I don't see, like, I date enough, but I don't see that as like a component of my personality.
Right.
And like, as a matter of fact, I am perfectly happy to be on my own, and I do like to spend time with people and things like that, but it's not the biggest part of who I am. But I was doing a Q&A about stand-up, like specifically about stand-up, and someone said, what do you look for in a partner? And I was like, I don't. you know, because it's not like I feel like it's easier or better for me at, you know, now that I've lived a life, like I know that I can support myself just fine. I know the things that I like, and I know like how I can offer parts of myself to a partner, and what they can offer to me.
Right.
And it's frustrating to me when people are so hyper fixated on just being part of a couple. And it's not even about partnership. It's about like fulfilling this like romantic ideal that probably isn't very accurate.
Okay, in the defense of the person who asked the question, you know, maybe it was just out of curiosity. Maybe, you know, like there's so many layers of what people think, or you know, if you have like, so we train our minds to think the way we want to think. People don't believe that. So like, you know, the famous thing is like, you know, how did you become a stand-up comic? It's like, well, I went on stage and I started telling jokes and started seeing what worked and didn't work, and then I just modified it. But basically, you train your brain to think in that way. So like when you catch something, oh, that's funny, I better write this down or I'm gonna forget it forever. And you know, like I put everything in my phone. I don't know where you put your stuff, like if you got a book or like an idea pad, a sketch pad or whatever. But you think of it somewhere. So it's like, that person doesn't realize how you think about these ideas in general. So like they were probably just being polite.
I don't know, because
there
was like absolutely nothing about what I had talked about. Like I don't.
No, I give you that. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying like, it's like, oh well, here's what Cori, you know, here's Cori's jokes, here's Cori's style. You know, what would they be interested in if they were going to date somebody? Maybe I don't know. Like I wouldn't. Me personally, if I had a Q&A and I was asking somebody, I wouldn't talk like about their relationship. I just wouldn't, because
it just doesn't. Like, and I don't know that. Like if Teal is maybe not the best example.
Well, Teal
like,
goes on stage, so Teal is a.
And so I go on stage and say that I don't date much.
Yeah, but had you done that this time?
Yes.
Okay, well, so then you did put the idea in their head.
I don't date much.
Right, but then if you did, then what would you look for? I can see I can see that logic. Not to defend anybody, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Because I don't know that like when you think about guy comics, like if
nobody would ask them, but maybe they would. No, I think so. You don't think so?
I've never been to a Q&A where I've seen a male comic act.
I don't go to a lot of Q&As, so I don't know.
Well, I've never seen in an interview someone.
Yeah, but maybe a movie star though.
Maybe.
Yeah. Again, you're right. your point is that they treat women differently than they treat men. Absolutely, 100%. I'll never argue with you about that. I'm trying to play devil's advocate here, and I'm not trying to, walk out of here. You're right, and but me personally, like it wouldn't be in the top things I would ask anybody.
Right.
To be honest.
Right.
Like, I just
right. It's a weird question.
It is a weird question. Like, what do you look for when you're dating? That they like me? And that's it. Do they like that goes a long way.
Yeah.
All the red flags that this guy has, I'd overlook them. If he liked me, like I famously say, if you buy me dinner, you can buy me breakfast. That's it. If you buy me a meal, odds are, I'll put out. It's a very low bar to get me. Sorry.
I'm glad that you recognize that.
I do, and it keeps things in my head well. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm being charmed right now. You know what that means. I took, you're not going to believe this, but I'll tell you, I took a women's study course when I was in college.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
We read a lot of different novels.
What was your favorite reads while you were in?
Oh, geez. I knew you were going to ask this, and I was like, why bring this up? Because she's going to ask you. It was
Where did
Gertrude
you take
Stein.
it at?
It was at SIUE, so
Okay.
Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville.
Okay.
We read Gertrude Stein, and then her partner. Gertrude Stein's as a pen name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we read work by her, and we read work by her partner, who had also read under a pen name. We read a lot of. I'd love to.
So you were reading kind of like Enlightenment era.
Yes.
20s, 30s.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the majority of the course.
Her partner's name was Anne.
Yeah, but that's not what she wrote by. She wrote it in like a men's name or something like that. Yeah. But we read a lot of that, and then we wrote about what we wrote. We watched a few movies. I enjoyed the course. I got like a B or an A. I don't know. I want to say a B. I definitely did better than I thought I would. I enjoy writing, and surprisingly, I don't write a lot, but I do enjoy it when I do. And I enjoy writing. And I enjoy reading different perspectives. I like listening to the song because it's a perspective I don't hear every day. I do hang out in the relationship subreddits, like way too much for my own good, and they're all the same. It's like a female 25, and a male 57, and it's like I'm not happy, and then you just read this story, and it's this song.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then there's like 35, 150 comments, and they're
girl,
like,
dump him. Get out of there,
Get out
girl.
of there. Yeah, no, absolutely. Usually they're a little more thoughtful than that, but it's like, you're being abused emotionally, possibly physically, and there's the power dynamic there because he's established and you're not, and you don't have a career. And it's like you get out of there. And I just read so much of this, and maybe that's why, like I said, I don't think of these things the way like typical men do or whatever. I don't think like that. I never have. I just see, I'm going to say this. You're not going to believe me, but I just try to see everybody on the same playing field. I know they're not on the same playing field, but this is kind of how I take my human interactions.
I don't see dicks.
Yeah.
I don't see. I don't see.
I see too many. And then I try and question, like, why am I seeing so many of these? A song like this kind of opens up, and she even says, like, I know you're a smart man, and then weaponize the false confidence. Like, God, it's just like these horrible, horrible people, and it's just frustrating. And I knew when you sent this song that this would be the majority of like what we were going to talk about. And it's like, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk to people about what they want to talk about. Like, you give me a song. That's the whole point. It's just, oh fuck, man. I just wish these people didn't exist. At the end of the day, it's like, we're not doing enough to educate people on how to have healthy relationships. There's so many things we don't educate people on, but healthy relationships is certainly in the top 3 because it's going to be a majority of your life is going to be in and out of relationships, and they don't teach you how to do that. We also don't encourage proper mental health. I talk about therapy a lot on this podcast, and it's like we don't encourage people to go to therapy, and we don't encourage people to you need help, and sometimes you need an outside perspective. It's the nice thing about the relationship subreddit is that I am finally asking for help. And it's like, well, majority of the time they're going to tell you just cut and run because it's probably the best thing for you.
Yeah, I think most of the models that we see of romantic love are really, really unhealthy. So like romantic love in movies is often unbalanced obsession. There aren't a lot of great models for like secure, healthy attachment style in movies.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right that like most people are not going to see great models for the relationships that they have, and just like in high school, we don't learn how to do our taxes, we don't learn how to care for other people or care for ourselves very well.
In defense of the tax thing, I did learn how to do taxes.
Did you?
So we had a personal finance class.
In Belleville?
Yeah, no, Muscuda, which is down the street, yeah. And then in addition to that, we had personal finance when I taught. We had a personal finance class. I have no idea what went on there. I know the teacher at one point was playing R. Kelly after he had been convicted.
Oh.
So, like,
No.
maybe not a good role model or teacher. But the point is that, like, we do see some of these things. It just goes in one ear right out the other.
Yeah,
and it's so brief. It's like,
I went to O'Fallon Township High School.
yeah, I don't know. Take it up with them. But, I mean, usually it's like a 2-week thing, and, like, they barely touch on it, and it doesn't register. It doesn't register at the time because you're like, taxes, what are those? And then, like, you're 25, and it's like, no one taught me taxes. And you're so mad about it, and it's like, well, they did. You just weren't paying attention. But you remember that, how metriosis works or whatever, So I'd like to talk about, so we're talking about relationships. Let's talk about another unhealthy relationship.
Okay.
I ask people to give me a song, and then in return, I give them a song.
Okay.
So what was the song that I gave you?
You gave me Valentine by Snail Mail.
By Snail. Had you heard the song before I sent it to you?
I have.
Good.
Yeah, I like Snail Mail.
Yeah.
And I have heard this song. I relate.
Really?
Yeah, I can relate with this kind of feeling of being angry because someone is like, even though you were a big part of someone else's life, they're kind of trying to like remove you from it. I don't see it as necessarily like, I guess you could see it as unhealthy obsession in the song.
Yes. No, absolutely. I think there's a lot to be said for that.
I also think that it's important to, like, I never understand why, and like I've had experiences where, like I would never speak to my ex-husband again.
Yeah.
But most of my relationships, or people that I've been involved with, even if it were just very casual, I think that we should get along pretty well. It seems to me like it's usually, like, I feel like we should be friends. Like, there are a lot of good reasons for us to be friends.
Yeah.
And I feel like often if like, when I've had something like this happen where someone just doesn't want to acknowledge anything, like, bro, why are you mad at me? Like,
What's happened?
Yeah, there's no reason for you to.
Are you a big fan of closure? Let's start there, I guess. Do you feel like you need closure?
No, I think just not hearing from someone is closure enough for me. Like, I don't need to have. One time someone asked if I wanted to do some kind of like, what did they call it? It's like a restaurant review, but for dating afterwards.
A Yelp review?
Yeah, well, it was like a revisit, or what they.
That just sounds like a waste.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want that.
No.
I don't need to know. Like, if we aren't a good fit for each other, or like if you don't think we're a good fit, then we're not a good fit.
Right.
Like, I don't need to
it only
hear,
takes one person to leave a relationship. Yeah.
I don't need to hear what it is about me that you didn't care for, because I'm probably not going to change it.
Right.
Like, it's probably a part of who I am.
The fundamental core component. Yeah. No, absolutely.
So I just need to find someone who likes that.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
No,
I need
absolutely.
to find someone who, like, thinks it's quirky and endearing that my car always looks like a rolling dumpster, or someone who, you know, who doesn't mind that, like, I sing every word to every song, like that, like, or that I just say like random signs when I'm driving. Like, if these things annoy you, it's not fucking changing. I'm like old enough now that these things are me.
Yeah, I think if those those are relatively endearing.
Well, I mean, I picked the best ones.
Yeah, you know, waking up at 2 o'clock. You know, me yelling at you at 2 o'clock in the morning because you know the dryer has lint in it. You know, maybe that's a breakup of
right. Yeah. And that's like a living together thing where you're trying to like balance. It's not like this.
Yeah, no. So this is you know, keeping with the women's study theme that I brought with me for no good reason, because I can't defend it and I don't really remember it as well as I thought I would. This is you know, a gay relationship. Snail Mail is out, I believe. If she's not out, she seems like she's lesbian. I'm 100% sure she is.
She is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Snail Mail is a single person. She writes her own music. She's a great guitarist. The record label she's on is the same one of a couple of my favorite bands, so I follow the record label, and they're like, Snail Mail's got a new song out, and it's called Valentine. And I listened to it, and I was like, I'm down with this. And I don't listen to a lot of gay music, because I just don't.
Well, you do.
I do.
You
well, yeah,
do
you don't
listen.
know.
Everybody listens to a lot of gay music.
Well, you know what I'm saying, but like gay music written for gay people, and there's a difference between those two things.
Yeah.
And this is, you know, Snail
There's
Mail's
another artist that maybe you've heard, Caroline's Daughter. There's a song called Violent, which is similar to this. It's like a lesbian breakup song.
Yeah, and there's some interesting things here. The "Why do you want me to erase me" part, I didn't know that was like part of like lesbian culture. So I always go down like a rabbit hole of songs if I like it. Like Genius, I go to Genius, I go to Wikipedia if it has Wikipedia. And like one of the things is like there's a whole like thing like erasure in like lesbian relationships is a thing. Like, well, it didn't exist. Like they were just roommates, you know. They were never together. Yeah. They were just roommates the entire time for 35 years.
Yeah, it is easy for women who are bisexual when they, you know, switch to heteronormative behavior to just.
It was a phase.
Yeah.
It was just like it was in college. I was drunk, you know. You were drunk a lot. You were sober a lot with that girl, you know. So yeah, this is depressing, but at the same time, like, this isn't a healthy relationship, and I don't know if like the person left you for a reason. And then there's couple great lines here. You won't believe what just 2 months do. I'm older now. Like 2 months later, I fixed all of these problems that you had with me. Yeah. So you can come. Yeah. We can pick right back up. It's like 2 months, really. In the large scheme of things, nothing. That's the one that always stuck with me because I just think it's so funny. Like you can't argue your way into a relationship or to continue a relationship. You can't.
Yeah, you can't talk someone into it.
But you always believe that you can. You do, you know, like when people break up and it's not working and you really want to get back together. I wanted to get back together with my first girlfriend, and she didn't, and we didn't until 20 years after when she reached out to me on Facebook, of all things. It made no sense, honestly, and it was just kind of like at the time I was just like, how do I figure this out? It was like a math problem. Like what do I say to get this back? And the answer was there's nothing, which in hindsight was helpful for me because then I understood like, okay, there's things that things can end, and then you know, and so every relationship after that I was like, oh, okay, I can go.
That's kind of my mantra when I'm dating someone now is just let them. Like that if someone wants whatever someone wants to do, whatever they want to do, let them. Yeah. Because like you can't control people. You can't.
But I mean, it's maturity in time more than anything else.
Yeah.
At 20. You know, or 21 or whatever I was at the time.
Yeah, it was not my mantra even 10 years ago.
Right.
But
no, but that's a healthy way of realizing this. And most people, you know, we've talked a lot. We've made a lot of stereotypes today, and we've made a lot of assumptions. There are a lot of people who are this person.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sad, and it's like what they don't realize. people like to be loved
But
and want to feel loved.
I do think it's frustrating when, like, talking about erasure in relationships, that while that happens with lesbian relationships, bi relationships,
Yeah.
it also happens with men, between men and women, like just like men or women, like minimizing the importance of someone in their lives.
Yeah,
and
I can give you
it's
that.
hurtful, and like not honoring that there was love or some kind of like emotions or feelings or something. That is really, really painful.
Yeah. No, I know that, and I think we have like a friend or two that's going through some of those things, where it's like, I wish you would acknowledge that we had something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll absolutely do that.
And especially now because of like situationship culture.
That's
and
so stupid. All of that. I'm so glad. Like, I've been with Becky for a long time.
Yeah.
We're actually getting married in
Yay!
June. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
But it's just like, and we always joke about it. It's like, well, if something happened, like I'm becoming a monk. Like I'm done with all of that culture. Sounds horrible to me.
Yeah,
it sounds like the worst.
It's very invalidating. And it's very hurtful.
Right. It's like friends with benefits, but the second the benefits end, like you're no longer friends either. It's like we weren't friends.
And I think that it gives people some permission to treat or devalue their sex partners even more,
which is terrible.
Yeah.
Like
to make them like. But I think specifically the reason is so that even though they're having sex, like boundaries stay in place, and so it's
that's
like so they're meaner than they would be to a friend.
Right.
Which is I just don't like that.
I don't understand any of it. I really like literally on like a human level.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't do it. Like
it can be frustrating. I've had these experiences, and I'm like, bro, we can bang, and I can still be your pal. Like you can just be nice, just be a human being with like thoughts, emotions, and kindness. But I have had like I don't feel like I see the obsession in this, and I see her anger in this, but I think it's relatable, I think, to a lot of women who are like me, who are not maybe I'm a serial monogamist, I don't know what
probably
I am, but
and that's frustrating. I mean, I was too, like I've always had like a girlfriend. I've never like really dated, like really I go on like 1 or 2 dates and all of a sudden like we're in a relationship, and that was it. And so like the majority of them been like longer than a year. And
maybe I'm not like that.
So no, that's like a serial monogamous.
Yeah, I'll stay single for really.
No, but I've gone like single for like I don't have to be in a relationship tomorrow. Like I've gone like a couple years without relationship, or a year or two or something. The older I've gotten, like the less that time has been. But at the same time, like I've been with Becky for over a decade at this point. So it's a lot different now. Like I'm not like I don't understand it anymore. But what I'm saying, when I was younger, it was just like. I don't want to have a weird, it's just like you're my girlfriend or you're not. Let's just leave it at that. Like, and if you don't agree to that, then we don't agree to it. And it's like, and that I'm not frustrated. And then if you're frustrated, just walk away. It's like, and I just view it that way. And maybe I'm insensitive to some regards in that, but it's like, man, I would just rather have like, this is who we are now together. And if we're not, then I'm by myself, and I can live with that. I'm fine. I'm a well-defined human being outside of a relationship. I'd like to think I am.
Yeah, you are. You're a strong man, and you don't need no gal. You're a strong, independent man.
I'm not. I say I'd be a monk. I'd have a girlfriend in like 2 days. Somebody would latch on to me. That's kind of the thing.
You're a catch. You've got a podcast.
Yeah. Sweet Jesus, having a podcast. That's I think that being a stand-up comic and having a podcast would eliminate like 90% of the dating pool of like women that I would want to date. You don't think so? It's like, oh no,
He has interests. Interests.
He has jokes on stage about things. And then you can't turn it off. Because you can't turn it off. And that's what people don't understand. It's like, no, I just say things now. And what they don't understand is like when you start out doing comedy, it's like you were funny. And people don't, like, maybe, very few of us weren't funny before we started doing comedy on stage. Like, we were funny to our friends, we were funny to people we didn't know. Like, you were just funny. You would say things and people would laugh. And you always get that feedback. And it's like, how do I get more of that? And it's like, I'm going to go in front of as many people as possible and do this.
How do I have a one-way conversation with strangers?
That's correct. Because I don't care what you think or say. I have no interest, because you don't want to know. Like, you don't want to be asked what your dating like's like. You don't want to know. I don't want to, I'm famously Native American, and people. One lady came up to me one time. Yeah, I know. I talked about it on stage, and she was like, "You're not Native American." And like arguing with me about it, and I had to bring up like the DNA results. So I'm like, no. I'm like, here's a picture.
You don't have to do it.
I don't, but so like you talked about like being okay. There's mine. I do have a similar situation, and I was like, here's a picture of my mom, who is the most Native American woman on the planet. And I'm like, here's my DNA results saying that I'm, only 37% Native American when I thought I was half. But anyway, it was, you get that. But it's, in terms of being a catch and being like a comedian with a podcast, it's like you've narrowed the people that would be attracted to you. Like I had to sneak this up on Becky. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, I thought about doing a podcast, and Jada said she'd edit the videos, and then that was the sell was Jada being the editor, because now the daughter is learning the skill. Well, I'm contributing to the family. I'm giving her like a usable skill. Yes, family.
Very Vin Diesel-y.
Yeah, family. Boom. You talk about family. I hate those. Do you watch the films, the Fast and Furious films?
I've maybe seen one.
I've seen. We're like 16. We had to force ourselves to watch them.
Why?
Because
Why?
I need to check it off the box. But you don't understand. Like everything in life, I want to say I've done or at least learned how to do. So this is like part of the learning process. So like having watched the Fast and Furious movies, like if it's such a cultural touch point, then I have to say I've been a part of it. And so I'm like 6 or 7 movies in, and I don't want to gouge my eyes out.
You could watch like Schindler's List,
I
or
watched
maybe
Schindler's List.
Chariots of Fire. I mean,
I've
that's
seen
not
Chariots
the
of
only.
So I watch the Oscar nominees. Like I'll watch those. It used to be 5. That was much easier to keep up on. Now it's like 10. I watch those. I'll watch like the best animated film. Like and then I've got to watch Fast and Furious.
Who's your pick for?
I haven't watched a lot of these films this year.
Have you seen honestly, The Brutalist?
No, I haven't seen anything yet. I've just kind of heard about them. Is that it? Or
I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I don't like. I don't like movies where like plants are bad guys, or like this movie the protagonist really is buildings. I don't. Doesn't really do anything for me.
The enemy of the movie is just nature in general.
Yeah.
I get that.
The Happening. I don't like The Happening. The Brutalist, like the good guys in buildings. I don't feel like that's something I need to.
It's not accurate in life. I don't know. We just stumbled across them. We haven't been keeping up as well as I would like in terms of movies.
You've
like
seen
I really
Wicket?
No, but Becky did. She read the books and then she went and saw it.
Yeah, I saw I did both too.
Yeah, she read the book first and then went and saw the movie. I don't like that they didn't tell people it was the first part. I don't care at the end of the day, but like I guess apparently there was like a placard right at the end. It's like part 1, and it's like
Yeah, because it's very long.
Yeah, so there is going to be a second one.
It's more than 3 hours.
Yeah.
And so like if you go and see the musical is only like 2, maybe 2.5 hours.
Yeah, no, but I guess they wanted to adapt the book and not the musical, but include the songs from the musical. So
the books were. Good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't read a lot of. I read Stephen King. That's about it.
I like Stephen King.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've read most of it.
Chris Stewart was on it. We talked a little bit. Stephen King. Have you read The Dark Tower? I guess I gotta ask that.
I have. So, like, I've read almost all of his books. Yeah. Right now, I'm a big fan of his son, Joe Hill.
Yeah, he's got some good stuff.
I think that he writes, like, I love the stories that Stephen King writes, but the way that he writes dialogue is
like a man who's like 75.
Yeah,
a 75-year-old man at this point, right?
So clunky and it always has been. And then when he writes people of color, it is straight up unfortunate. Like it's always like some kind of like pigeony patois that's like not good or
I've kind
but I mean I like his stories. I like the whatever is in his head, but I don't
used to be cocaine. No, not
but
as
not
much.
for the last 40 years or
No,
so.
I don't know.
Then it was gravel for
Poor guy. I don't know. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
This was really fun.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. As long as you don't walk away angry at me. Remember, I'm not representative of any of these people, okay? And I can't defend the entire male race. I don't plan to.
Oh, I don't expect you to.
I am not their spokesman. I'm merely a guy who tries to do well. I try to keep up around the house. I'm not perfect. Like
Becky,
I said, I don't cook much. Yeah.
Becky, if you're listening right now, this is his promise to cook twice a week.
No, he isn't. No, nobody's cooking that much. I made a pizza last night. She's out of town for work. I made a pizza, so there you go.
Right.
So I'm not cooking when she's not around either. Just for the record, I'm not like oh she's gone, time to whip up everything. So
what are the things that she doesn't like that you cook? Just let me.
Oh well, so she's Italian, and it's like it'll be like pastas.
She doesn't like the way that
she doesn't like baked chicken, and she doesn't like grilled chicken. So like the air fryer, she's on board. We got an air fryer, and like air fried chicken, she's on board with, but not like the rest of it.
Okay.
So it's little things like that. And then like chicken's like a big staple of like most people's diets.
Sure.
Because it's cheaper than like getting steaks, and steaks
It's
aren't as healthy.
easy to make,
Right. And then so like grilled chicken and baked chicken, she's just not on board with. And it's like so I'd make like a lot of pastas, grilled chicken, chop it up, put it in there. And so it was a lot of like what stop. So we, like I said, we've gotten the emails. We've and they've been like a little bit different. We've kept up on it and stuff like that. So
that's good.
Yeah. I'm trying. I try. I'm not perfect. But anyway, I'm not, we try. And hopefully, when you meet the right somebody, that they'll cook for you twice a week, because you're making me cook twice a week. So, thank you. What I want you to do now is you're going to look in this camera here. You're going to give your socials on how to find you. And then we'll call it a day.
My Instagram handle is Cori_does_stuff. You can find me on Facebook right now as Cori Ellen, but eventually again as Cori Stewart. I am looking for a brand new job. Also, I am on Threads. Cori Does Stuff.
Nobody's on Threads. Don't
I am.
Don't do that.
I'm not doing Blue Sky. I can't. This is where
I'm
all
not
my
leaving.
jokes, all the good stuff.
I'm
I
not
guess
leaving
I'm just.
anything. I'm on Twitter. I don't care. I just don't care. I'm not leaving.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to Blue Sky.
disabled my Twitter account a couple years ago, or I forgot the password, and so I just haven't. But I like.
You're
Threads.
not missing anything. I don't do anything on Twitter, besides I just read news, and so that's like the perfect outlet to keep up. Yeah,
the best, least biased.
Everything's biased.
Yeah.
And if you subscribe to both sides of things, you can get like a nebulous. There's a guy named Isaac Saul, and he runs a thing called I can see Tangled or something like that. And all it is like he aggregates the news, and then he gives his spin. So he gives you both sides on what they're saying about a particular topic. He tells you what the topic is, and then he gives his opinion on it, and it's perfect. That's it. Somebody told me about it like a couple years ago, and I've been just following it ever since. He's got like 300,000 like email subscribers. It comes to your email, so it's even better. And then you can just read it, and it's like reading time, 10 minutes, perfect. And I read it, and then I'm like up to date, and I know what both sides are saying, and then I can be angry at whatever side I want to be angry at, and then I'm good to go. So anyway, there's a little pitch for that. I am at Jeffrey Phipps, JEFFERY. _ Phipps on Instagram, Jeffrey Phipps on Facebook. I like to be formal. I'm Jeff. People are starting to ask me like, what do I call you? It's like just not before 5 a.m. And then you're already watching the show, but we're at Gimme A Song. We're trying to get subscribers and viewers, so that's what we need to do. So if you're interested, subscribe. Tell somebody. Are you subscribed? You should be if you're on the top. Okay, thank you. I'm going to start asking my guests that. Tell your friends, tell your pets, and thank you for coming on. Have a great day.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Come out wherever you are.
Yeah.
Girl, dump him.
Yeah,
Get out of there.
So I tell jokes.
Like, kind of like